Hi, Mike Kennedy with you. Ta-da! Uh, we're doing a major reorganization. That's what led me to find my Swiss Army knife. Uh, I'm going to try to use this for like a month. Try to use it for everything I normally would use the Leatherman for. Obviously, I can't use it if I need pliers or anything. This doesn't have the pliers. Uh, it's interesting that this model doesn't exactly match the other models, but to me, how thick this is probably the limit of what you'd really want. They have one of their tools evidently you can buy with everything on it. It costs, I think it's like $200 or $300, and it's like, what could, you could you just couldn't hold it. I don't, it's probably more of a novelty item, but uh, I did find out that you can buy all kinds of replacement parts for this. In other words, if a blade's bad, you just buy another one and you can install it. Saying that it's something you can't, like sharpen out a nick or something like that. If you actually damage something, you can actually replace it. This one's got a plastic magnifying lens in it, case here, so I don't know how strong that is. I think the later ones were metal. I could be wrong. But anyway, what this does have, and it's too bad the shipping is like half of what it costs. So in other words, for $15 and $8 postage from Europe, you can get new scales and the new plus scales. In other words, rather than having just a toothpick and the tweezers, which I don't have with this, you would get new scales. You get to pick the color you want. They've got, two shades of red, blue, yellow, black. To me, I would either stick with the color or I would decide to go to a yellow so it's something bright. But in that one, they include, because the items are held with the case, they also include the pen and a place for a pen, a needle. Now, I guess it's a pen, not really a needle. I don't know. But anyway, they're contained in the case. So by taking this scale off and putting that scale on, and they actually come with those pieces. In other words, you get a toothpick pen, tweezers, and the pen, I guess. But like I say, $15 and then $8 in shipping. So I'm going to decide how much I like this before I do that. Okay, so that's that. And just, one thing I'll just mention now, having a thin blade is superior for slicing food and things than a wider blade. And that's why, you look at cooking knives and they're shaped, similar to this, thinner than, say, the Leatherman knife. This doesn't have a serrated blade. This one has a fish scaler, which is interesting, and the end is kind of different so that you can, it is a hook removal tool as well. And, I don't know which one to pull up right now. There's the scissors. But anyway, believe me. Is this it? No, that's the awl. This is a big deal. Now, I don't do leather working and things, but a lot of people think this is an essential item to have on a survival tool. And so there are Leathermans that do have this type of thing. This one's good because it has a hole in it, which would allow you to, use it for sewing and punching through some pretty significant material. Okay, so that's that. But then we come across too a mushroom knife. This is a knife this person sent me. I couldn't believe it. This is, handmade. Mushroom knives classically have this curved blade, and the handle's all bone. Isn't that something? And a homemade neck knife type case with it. It fits in place fairly positively because of the curve, but it comes, I would still use this, it comes with a strap to wrap around this, I assume, piece of antler too. I said bone, but I meant an antler. But really kind of a neat idea, and someone sent it to me. And I had sent the person, he had somehow we get in for an exchange, and I sent him. I had gotten this. There's some really large pawn shops up in the Oxford area in Maine. I was in there. I was just surprised at the number of knives they had, and I picked out what I thought was kind of a decent knife, But again, it wasn't that great, and I sent it to the guy, and of course, what he did with it was he took the ugly handle off of it, put this, not a handle like this, but an elaborate handle on it. And my goodness, and he polished it up, and the blade looked better and everything. And it really, really looked like an expensive knife after he did that. But a lot of times the handle is a determining factor of how expensive that is, especially when you're going into the bone and the ornateness and things, different things like that. And it can really, improve the appearance of the knife. And then I guess it's up to you to decide what you like and don't like. I've heard a lot of people say, well, no, you don't want antler or bone handles because they're too hard. It's better to have something with a little give in it. Like, you might think of it, the typical knives, handles on Mora knives and things. But so there's always this controversy between function and style. And of course, the style tends to be knives that are quite a bit more expensive than just the plain functional ones. So it was interesting because, like I say, I think I only paid $6 for it. And he sent me this, and it was just amazing, the picture he sent back to me. It was impressive. But this is impressive too. So there we go. Hopefully there'll be some mushrooms. There haven't been any mushrooms. This week is supposed to be dry. We've had plenty of wet weather that you usually have wet and dry weather that causes mushrooms to flush or to fruit. The myceliums live under the ground, and then the mushrooms pop up. And the problem is still too cool. April, at least in Maine, was we haven't had an April that hadn't hit 70 degrees for, I think, said 4 years ago. So, we had an unusually cold April. And I think actually, from what I had looked at previously, like Farmer's Almanac, way in the past, trying to predict what the spring would be like, it made it sound like it was going to be a dry and warm spring. But it's the opposite. It's a wet and cold spring, at least through April. But we'll see. It's sunny. We're supposed to have an entire week of sun. Maybe that will warm things up enough so I can actually, use this. And it's just cool. So we'll find other things as we go along, but we'll continue with this, continue using some of the tools. And of course, if you have any interest in these at all, there's this man, and I'm going to put his channel link below. He's written books using the using the Swiss Army knife. I think I had trouble figuring out that he might actually be employed by Swiss Army knife now. I don't know if that's true. I saw something that said he was an ambassador for it, which means I would think that there's some arrangement there. I could be wrong, but my feeling is that he started the channel just on his own because he really likes the knives, and he makes these things. He's got a book that has, I forget if it's 10 or 30 projects that you can make with a Swiss Army knife and different things, and he shows like how to. You wouldn't think you could split wood with this, but if you use it like this, of course the wood's going to be quite a bit shorter. But you put this on wood, and then you hit down like this. It will allow you to split things going this way. Wouldn't it be a good idea? But it's just things like that. He shows you how to drill holes in things, finds a lot of alternate uses for the tools too, and he does do some mods once in a while. And one of the mods I thought was really interesting was, okay, you have this tool, right? And bottle opener. And at the end here, or can opener, what is this, the can opener or the bottle opener? What he did is he ground off this flathead screwdriver thing that's here, and he kind of sharpened the edge a little more. It's got a certain sharpness too. But basically by doing that, he had a tool that he could use to make spoons. And of course, making spoons is a big deal. If you're stuck in the wilderness, the first thing you want to do is make a spoon, because that's what everybody in bushcraft does. So it must be an absolutely essential thing for your survival. And so by modifying this, he gets that curved blade, and there's enough of curve in there to be able to do that kind of curved gouging that will form the bowl of the spoon. It's interesting too when a lot of bushcraft things are done with green wood. So the wood is very, very soft compared to if it was dry. And that's another thing that makes, this work so well, because generally you're working with something that's green, at least with bushcraft projects. And it's quite a bit easier to carve and slice into greenwood than it is hardwood. And you can just try that sometime. Get a piece of, which I've done, you get a piece of kiln dried hardwood, and you start working on that, and you'll find that it takes quite a bit of effort. There was this whittling channel I was following, and he normally doesn't use pocket type knives. He uses specialty knives just made for carving, and they're really not that expensive if you really want to get into it, to carving wood, doing intricate things. This is fine for bushcraft type things, but if you're going to actually carve and do these, men in the woods type thing with a beard, or sometimes they look like gnomes, and you use these other tools, and you can go from anywhere to $20 for a basic set up to forever price. Like knives are always like, oh, you want to spend $900 for it? Oh, here it is. Here's the catalog. This one that costs $900. But you can get appreciably less expensive things. But so that's the logic. We're going to try this out and evaluate. And like I say, I might spring for the $23 to upgrade this if I really like it. One of the advantages of this, right off, is that this can get lost in your pocket. In other words, you've got it in your pocket. You don't even notice you have it with you. If you just stick a Leatherman in your pocket, at least the Leatherman Wave Plus, like I have, that's kind of a big object to be rolling around in your pocket. And it's much better to use either the pocket clip, which I was doing for a while, on it, but I prefer the pouch on the belt, because then, again, you don't feel it. It's always there, handy, ready to get at. But we'll see what happens. Bye.